Alright, Doom Patrol Episode 2 review. I've got to say, man, this is a surprising series so far. It's got a cinematic quality to it that Titans didn't have, and this one is really rocking it. So it begins, and it kind of takes me out of it when it begins because it jumps us right back into where we left off with that big portal about to swallow up everything, the town and everything. And you've got Alan Tudyk's character, Mr. Nobody, still narrating. And he even goes a step further with mentioning subscribers, DC subscription, and breaking the fourth wall in a very Deadpool like manner. And I didn't want to go there. I was like, are we really going there? But then Chiefs is like, Chief, who are you talking to? And at this point in the episode, it bothered me. I didn't want them to go to this fourth wall breaking place, but later in the episode, I get comfortable with it because I understand the character a bit better, and it does come off a bit better later in the episode. So I didn't understand what that thing was with the cockroach, like, but Robot Man is still to me the shining star, the heart of this team. Jane Jane is more likable this time around. She gets swallowed up into the portal with Chief and the whole town, and Robot Man is just going off. Like, what the fuck? it was it was awesome. He was absolutely hilarious, and of course, the other two, they did not care. They just blamed themselves. This is what happens when we get involved. We're not heroes. Uh, they stick it to him pretty hard, uh, going on about who you gonna punch now, Cliff. And he's like, I just wanted to help. So you get some very funny stuff in there with Negative Man, him trying to leave town, and the entity possessing him will not let him. He buys ticket after ticket to place after place, and it's just not happening, man. It was hilarious. It was very enjoyable, and the majority of the episode, we still get characters getting fleshed out, and they're getting fleshed out pretty well. Each character gets their own thing in here, their own time to get fleshed out. They do the least, I'd say they do the least backstory on Robot Man, but they show enough of them. Every character really gets an equal amount of substance in here. You got Robot Man trying to figure out the other two, just the other two, they don't want to help Robot Man with this, and he's trying to figure out things. He's chasing down this donkey, and Cyborg gets involved. And let me get started on Cyborg. So he's introduced in Detroit, where the Titans are based, or where they were based. I'm not clear where they're at now. I don't remember, but he's introduced in Detroit, and he stops a crime. We get a funny little Bruce Wayne reference in there when this guy's trying to get this lady to withdraw her money from the ATM, and he stops that guy. And then we explore a bit more of Cyborg. The casting for his father was great. I was a little bit worried about this Cyborg being a little bit small and scrawny as compared to bulkier, more buffed up versions of Cyborg. And I really enjoyed this casting. The actor does very well. Cyborg looks really, this whole episode, like I said, very cinematic quality, exceptional. And we go into the background of Cyborg, and name dropping Justice League, figuring out he has ties with Doom Patrol. Get a nice picture, like a nice scene in Star Labs. Very, very good quality set, brightly lit, all that. In comparison to Arrow, Arrow is just inferior in every way. This show is already like, and we also name drop Argus in there. There are there are several name drops in here. There's some references to Negative Man and the Mummy, which I found funny, since this is very like B movies horror type classic. But the donkey spits out Jane, and it's not Jane, it's one of her many, many personalities, and they have to cycle through them, try to figure out who's who. Robot Man does some exploring on that after he gets shunned by her. and Cyborg. I I didn't really like how Cyborg and Robot Man were hitting it off. They were kind of antagonistic towards each other. I wanted more from that since really those two shine for me this episode stronger than any other character. But Jane, it really gets fleshed out this time around. They explore her personality. Robot Man goes through tapes of each of her personalities, not all of them, but a fair amount, and he discovers, you know, what she's really about because he knew very little of Jane when he was bonding with her in the first episode. Their bond only increases here, but she does some of her personalities. One of them in particular comes off just very hurtful to Cliff with the things she says to him, and you got to feel bad for Cliff, man. Even though he used to be a douchebag in life, you got to feel bad for this man. But beyond that, uh, they go into this weird world that Mr. Nobody has inside the donkey's mouth, and it's stunning, beautiful world. It's a very interesting exploration going down there for each of the characters. And all in all, finally, Negative Man's the entity possessing him has a bigger role to play. He ultimately, is the hero of this episode, but Alan Tudyk's character just really shines in these moments too, where they're exploring his world. This world is his world, and he's narrating it, and it's funny the way he talks. Just here is where breaking the fourth wall did not bother me because he exists beyond time and space, so it does make sense, and it comes off really well. Very very good episode. There wasn't a moment I really disliked other than that little short hiccup in the beginning where I'm like, are we really going to go there? But then when we really went there, I really enjoyed going there. So the characters, Negative Man, I really liked where this episode went for him taking off the bandages and him and the entity, leaving a note for the entity, deciding that they've got to break some ground rules, set some ground rules, and Cyborg learned some startling things, some things he's very suspicious of that Alan Tudyk's Mr. Nobody kind of brings to light for him, and he when his father shows up at the inn at the mansion and he repeats something that Cyborg was saying and that Negative Man was kind of putting emphasis on, that you really think you know yourself, or who are you? That I just felt like this really played out well. It really paid off well, and Cyborg sticking around the mansion now. We're gonna have him as part of the main cast. Unfortunately, Chief is still out there somewhere, and we don't know where. But I really enjoy him more as Chief this episode, despite the fact he's not really in the episode that much. He is in flashback scenes and all that, but I really enjoyed him more this episode. I feel like it's coming together. It's really being its own thing. This show is incredibly unique. The dialogue, the character flaws, the insecurities, just humanizes all these freakish characters to a whole level that Titans, it had its moments, but it also had a lot of flaws. It has a lot of bad things about it. This show so far, it's absolutely outstanding, phenomenal. It's hard to believe that it's a TV show because it does have cinematic qualities in the performances, the special effects, the acting, um, all around, just exceptional sets, music. I really, really enjoy it so far. Um, they continue to explore that Well, I guess one negative is they continue to explore, Negative Man being gay, which I don't really think was a thing in the comics. It's not that I'm familiar with. So they continue to explore that. Yeah, I don't like, sexual, like, changes or race changes. So, but all in all, I'd give this episode a solid 9 out of 10. Like, just a no, I'd go a step further. I'd give it a 10 out of 10 because performance wise, all these guys did a great job. They had such a chemistry together too, even though Robot Man and Cyborg were button heads, it came off. Yeah, you can see these guys having a very good, strong friendship down the line. But the visuals, man, stunning. Very exceptional episode, phenomenal TV show. You gotta check this out. If you're not watching it, give it a shot. At least the first two episodes. If you don't like it by the end of this episode, uh, then walk away. But I usually recommend at least trying to watch 3 episodes of a TV series before giving up on it. It's always a rough start for everybody, and you gotta find your place. You gotta find your footing. You gotta find who works best together, who plays off who the best, and what stories really work, and what characters, what kind of character flaws you want to explore, what kind of character interests and personalities, and the way they play off each other is very important. Man, solid 10 out of 10 for me, man. So subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Give me a ball boy thumbs up. It helps promote my channel. I continue reviewing this series because so far it's really great, and hopefully it doesn't fall off. Anyway, stay awesome. Rock on.